All right, big news coming in right now, viewers. This is a big setback to Devas and the win for centre as Delhi High Court sets aside around 50,000 rupees crore arbitration award in favour of Devas. And Devas had approached the Delhi High Court for enforcing a $562 million international arbitration tribunal award against Antrix. This is big news coming in right now. Big win coming in. It's a benefit of fraudulent action will now send a wrong message. That's what the Delhi High Court is saying. And in fact, the award contravenes fundamental policy of Indian law. And Delhi High Court has now set aside around 50,000 crore rupees arbitral award in favor of Devas, and Delhi High Court has called it a patent illegality while setting aside this award. So this is the big news coming in at this point of time, viewers. A big setback coming in at this point of time. A big setback coming in this point of time to Devas, and this is also a win for the centre. Let's repeat. In fact, very soon, our executive editor, Legal, will join us to help us understand this case a little further and why is it such a big win for the centre. But the Delhi High Court for now has set aside 15,000 crore arbitration award in favour of Devas, and the Devas had approached the Delhi High Court for enforcing a $562 million international arbitration tribunal award against Antrix. So this is the big news coming in at this point of time, and this High Court order is important because it will pave the way for India to liquidate Devas and also take action against the offenders. So this is the big update coming in on this story. And this is very significant. In fact, the Devas-Antrix deal and its aftermath is something very significant. The case, in fact, starts from the year 2005 with a satellite deal between the Antrix Corporation and the commercial arm of the Indian Space Research Organization and Devas Multimedia, which is a startup headquartered in Bengaluru. They are at the heart of the global legal tussle between the Indian government and foreign investors in Devas. So this tussle has been going on for a while, and the tussle started as when a fallout of the cancellation of the deal in 2011 by the then UPA government, citing requirement of the satellite spectrum allotted to Devas for security purposes. So this case has been, in fact, taking twists and turns. It started off from this 2005 satellite deal, and what we can tell you right now that the Delhi High Court has made very important points right now, where it is said they're allowing the Devas to re-benefit of fraudulent action will send wrong message, and award contravenes fundamental policy of Indian law. The Delhi Court also is setting aside 15,000 crore rupees arbitral award in favour of Devas, and it is called out patent. I repeat, Delhi High Court has called out patent illegality while setting aside that reward. So this is the big news coming in, and in fact, it was a Devas-Antrix deal we're talking about. In fact, both had signed an agreement for the lease of space segment capacity on ISRO Antrix S-band spacecraft by Devas Multimedia on January 28, 2005, a month after Devas was incorporated in Bengaluru in December 2004 by two former ISRO employees. So that's when this entire deal was signed. We're talking about the year 2005. Under the deal, ISRO was supposed to lease to Devas two communication satellites, GSAT 6 and 6A, for 12 years for 167 crores, and Devas would have provided multimedia services to mobile platforms in India using S-band transponders on the satellites, while ISRO was also leasing S-band spectrum. So this was an agreement which was in 2005, and the tussle had started. The tussle started after a fallout of the cancellation of the deal. The deal was cancelled in the year 2011. All right, Niranjan is joining me from the Mumbai newsroom to take us through why this Delhi High Court order is extremely important. Niranjan, this is a big win for the centre and a big setback as well for Devas.
Well, it's a big deal for India. It is an extremely big deal, and the fact is, it is India that is won in this scam, this Antrix-Devas scam. And we as a team, in fact, Arnab had covered this story. It was Arnab's team that broke the story many years ago a story for which even the then UPA government was questioned, Manmohan Singh was questioned, and today India has won in the arbitration case. Ridhamanand Bhardwaj, my colleague, is also joining us live, and I'm going to show you some of the observations made in the court order. I'm going to try and mark out some of the critical observations of the court as Rhythm also joins us on the broadcast. I just want to tell you that as of this minute, this order gets into great detail about why the court has decided that this entire Devas deal will have to. Chinmay Roy is joining me on the phone line. He's a legal officer, knows the facts of this case. Chinmay Roy, why is this order significant for India? Why is it symbolic for India? And why should we all be celebrating? Because, you know, for the longest time, when the scam happened, people tried to deny there was a scam, and eventually the costs had to be imposed on this company. Chinmay Roy.
Yes, so thank you for this opportunity. So coming to the fact, there was an agreement that Antrix-Devas had entered long back in 2011, and later it was terminated for certain reasons, and we had put it across to Devas, but there seems to be a disagreement from Devas's end, and they did not agree with our cancellation to be a proper cancellation. They took us for arbitration, and ICC tribunal gave an arbitral award against us. It was valued at $562.5 million in 2015, and currently it stands at close to 12,000 crores in Indian rupee. So this is the award that was passed in 2015. We moved setting aside application against this award, and thereafter we have been putting it across in our arguments to the courts, and we have been putting across the argument that the Devas was basically a shell company. It did not have any assets of its own. It did not suffer the loss that it should be recompensated by $563 million. We also put it across that there were severe violations of regulatory norms, and proper licenses were not in place. All of these was again reiterated before the Honorable Delhi High Court, and today this verdict has come out, and we would say that it is a big win for Antrix and also for the country. And if we may say this, that today the truth has been brought to light. So that is how I would sum it up.
So for a lot of people, Mr. Chinmay Roy, if I can ask you, because this is a story that impacts India and our space program, and how at one point we were worried about our resources being stolen, being given away for a pittance, and how some companies would have made so much of money. My colleague Rhythm is also joining us, but if all our viewers who are joining us this afternoon, why don't you tell them about this case and why India has won today, Mr. Roy? Chinmay Roy. Okay, I think I just lost the line there with him, but let me go back to Rhythm. Rhythm is joining us on the broadcast. Rhythm, I have this copy, details of which is also available with you. Talks about the fraud and how a fraud cannot be allowed on the people of India. Talks about how any product of fraud is in conflict with the public policy of any country, including India, and why the Devas petition just can't stand. Rhythm. Rhythm, you're muted.
Absolutely. This is an award in favor of India that is being given by the Delhi High Court. Justice Sanjeev Sachdeva's bench has given this order, and Justice Sachdeva always known to give orders that are absolutely very, very fair. So Justice Sachdeva giving out this order where the Delhi High Court sets aside the international arbitration order. Why is this a big deal? For two reasons. First, it is our Supreme Court that had said that this entire deal was a product of fraud. It was in conflict with India's public policy. And we also remember the Supreme Court in its judgment this very year had held that the very seeds of the commercial relationship between Antrix and Devas were a product of fraud perpetrated by Devas, and thus every part of the plant that grew out of the seeds, such as the agreement, was also the poison of fraud. What are we trying to indicate here? Remember this deal, and it was brought forward by our editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami many years ago, when this entire controversy of the Antrix-Devas deal had erupted and we saw the fraud that was there. Why is it a big win? Because the International Arbitration Court had awarded around 15,000 crore rupees to Antrix, and we had wanted that arbitration order to be set aside. Why did we want it to be set aside? Because India had done no wrong. Antrix, the ISRO's arm, had done no wrong, and therefore this sudden termination of the agreement, there was a termination of the ISRO's commercial arms agreement, that is by ISRO. Now the High Court order is very significant, and viewers, we also want to tell you the central government has been working towards this for the longest time. Meetings have been held, legal opinions had been sought. The finance ministry had said they would oppose the international award given to Devas Multimedia after the 17th of Jan Supreme Court order. And we remember Devas then approached the Delhi High Court for enforcing the $562 million international arbitration award against Antrix. Like the legal officer was telling us, the government had gone into great details. Multiple legal options had been sought. They had also challenged the proceedings. Then there were meetings that were held in the finance ministry. Now the legal groups are being prepared ahead of the Delhi High Court's order had been done. Now they had sought legal complaint. The main issue was that in 2005, Devas and Antrix signed an agreement under which the former would lease spectrum from the 2 satellites that ISRO would launch. Devas had agreed to pay Antrix, the commercial arm of ISRO, $300 million for the use of spectrum for 12 years. The agreement was extended. In 2005, they developed and operated 2 satellites. However, I remember now, it was in 2011 during the UPA regime, the deal had been cancelled. Though Devas challenged it, they were awarded 15,000 crore as damages. Viewers, let me tell you why this is a big win by Justice Sanjeev Sachdev's bench of the Delhi High Court. Like I said, a very upright judge whose judgments are very fair. And today what we are seeing coming from the Delhi High Court is a big win for the centre that was represented here by former Additional Solicitor General Mr. Maninder Singh and Mr. M. Venkatraman. The Delhi High Court has relied upon the order of the Supreme Court of the 17th Jan order, where they held the very